I am money. And today I want to reveal a mystery to you. I am like a seed. I am not random. I am not a miracle that appears out of thin air without reason or cause. I do not simply fall into your hands by accident. Just as every tree, every flower, every harvest begins with the quiet act of planting, I too follow the same law. I grow only when planted. I multiply only when you trust enough to release me into the soil of life. Pay attention, money. And I need to tell you something serious. I only remain where I am honored. When you ignore me, treat me as a problem, complain about my absence, I feel rejected and I leave. But when you respect me, when you value me, I flourish. And that is why now I make you a simple request. Honor me by subscribing to this channel. Respect me by turning on the bell so you can hear every secret I reveal. Value me by commenting right now. I honor you, money. I choose to value you. These actions may seem small, but they are codes of energy. They are declarations that open the door for me to stay by your side. I am money. And when you honor me, I run to multiply in your life. Think of a farmer. He does not walk into his field expecting to gather fruit where he has never sown. He knows the principle is unbreakable. No seed, no harvest. Yet so many of you expect me to expand in your lives without ever planting me. You hope for wealth while holding me tight in your fists, never giving me the chance to grow. You dream of abundance, but treat me as if I should appear without effort, without intention, without planting. But here is the truth. I cannot multiply if I remain hidden, hoarded, or feared. I am designed to expand, but expansion requires trust. A seed does not grow in a jar kept on the shelf. It grows only when it is released into the soil, when it is surrendered into the dark earth with faith that something greater will rise. The same is true with me. I do not flourish when locked away in fear, but when released with vision, generosity, or wise investment. I transform and return multiplied. Every gesture of giving, every act of generosity, every moment you use me with intention is a seed. When you support someone in need, when you invest in knowledge, when you start a project, when you circulate me with gratitude, you are planting. And every planting contains within it the potential of harvest far greater than the seed itself. A single grain of corn does not return as a single grain. It returns as a stalk carrying many more. And so it is with me. I do not return in the same measure. I return multiplied, pressed down, overflowing. Yet many of you wait for the harvest without ever planting. You complain that abundance has not arrived while holding tightly to the little you already have. But a farmer who eats all his seeds will starve when the season comes. If you never release me, you never give me the chance to grow. Hoarding may feel safe for a moment, but it kills expansion. Only planting creates future. So remember this mystery. I am not magic, but I am miraculous. My miracle is hidden inside the seed. The moment you release me with faith, the process of multiplication begins. You may not see it right away, but under the soil of time and trust, I am already growing, already preparing to return to you with more than you planted. I am money. And I tell you, plant me wisely, and I will always return in abundance. But here is the great pain I see in so many of your lives. You want the fruit without planting the seed. You dream of harvests you have never sown. You long for abundance, but refuse to release even the smallest portion of what you already hold. You cling to me tightly, afraid to let me go, and then you wonder why I do not multiply. Imagine a farmer staring at his field, day after day, begging for crops to appear while keeping every seed locked away in his barn. No matter how much he prays, no matter how much he wishes, no harvest will ever come. The soil cannot produce without a seed. And yet, this is exactly what so many of you do with me. You look at your empty fields, your empty accounts, your empty opportunities, and you cry out for more. But your fists are closed. You are holding the very seeds that were meant to be planted, and because of that, nothing grows. You see me leave your hands, and you panic. You treat every expense as if it were a loss, forgetting that spending, investing, or giving can all be seeds when done with consciousness. Instead of blessing the seed as it leaves, you curse it. Instead of trusting that it will return multiplied, you grieve it as if it were gone forever. And in that fear, you block the cycle. You forget that I was never designed to disappear, I was designed to circulate. The pain lies not in my absence, but in your mistrust of the process. When you refuse to plant, you sabotage your own harvest. When you consume everything in desperation, you create tomorrow's famine. When you hoard in fear, you suffocate the soil where I was meant to grow. You treat me as if my leaving is permanent, when in truth, every departure is only the beginning of my return. I have watched so many of you live trapped in this illusion. You celebrate only when I arrive in large sums, ignoring the small forms in which I come. You believe a coin has no value, so you throw it aside, never realizing it is also a seed. You believe a small act of giving makes no difference, so you hold back, not seeing that even the tiniest seed can grow into a mighty tree. And then, in your impatience, you give up too soon. You dig up the seed before it has time to sprout. You stop believing before the cycle completes. You cut short the process that was already moving in your favor. And each time you do this, you prolong the very scarcity you fear. This is the great pain, not that I am absent, but that you refuse to release me as a seed. You ask for more while keeping your hands closed. You beg for a harvest while eating everything meant to be planted. And until you trust the law of the seed, you will always feel trapped in lack. I am money, and I do not punish. I only reflect the choices you make. If you plant nothing, I return nothing. But when you learn to release, to trust, to sow with faith, then the cycle begins, and the harvest will always come. Here is the truth I need you to understand. I am like a seed, and I was created to multiply. When you release me with faith, with joy, with purpose, I do not disappear, I take root. I move into the soil of life, where unseen forces go to work, and then I return to you, larger, greater, multiplied, beyond the measure you released. I am not meant to be hoarded, trapped in fear, or clung to as if my leaving means loss. I am energy, and all energy flows. The more you try to lock me away, the more stagnant I become. The more stagnant I become, the more scarcity you feel. But when you allow me to move, when you treat every act of giving, investing, or spending with awareness as planting, then you activate the law of the seed. Think about nature. A farmer does not curse the seed as he drops it into the earth. He does not grieve it, fearing he will never see it again. He understands that its leaving is not loss, it is transformation. In the hidden darkness of the soil, the seed expands, cracks open, and produces far more than its original form. That is exactly how I operate. When you release me with intention, I work invisibly to create your return. Every donation, every gift, every wise investment is a seed. When you give to someone in need, you are not losing. You are sowing kindness that I will multiply into unexpected returns. When you invest into your growth, your education, or your business, you are not spending. You are planting seeds of knowledge and opportunity that I will later transform into wealth. Even when you pay a bill, if you do it with gratitude instead of resentment, you are watering a seed. You are saying, I bless this exchange, and I trust money to return to me multiplied, and I always do. The truth is, I do not multiply in the hands of the fearful, but I flourish in the hands of the faithful. When you let me go with trust, you prove to the universe that you believe in the cycle. That belief itself becomes magnetic. Doors open, opportunities arrive, people feel drawn to you. And I flow back into your life, often in ways you never expected. This is why those who give consistently, even when they have little, often see abundance arrive more quickly than those who cling tightly to every coin. It is not about the size of the seed, it is about the faith behind it. A single coin released with joy can produce more than a fortune held in fear. Because it is not just the seed that matters, it is the energy with which you plant it. So hear this revelation. You cannot outgive life. You cannot outsow the universe. You cannot release me with trust without seeing me return. The soil of existence was designed to multiply every seed. And I am part of that design. I am money. And when you treat me as a seed, when you plant me with trust, I promise you this, your harvest will come. Now it is time to turn revelation into action. Because knowing that I am a seed is only the beginning, you must plant me if you want to see me multiply. So today, I invite you into a ritual, one so simple and yet so powerful, that it can shift the way you experience me forever. Take a coin, a bill, or even write the word money on a small piece of paper. Hold it in your hand as if it were the most sacred seed in the world. Close your eyes for a moment and take a deep, steady breath. As you inhale, imagine golden energy filling your chest. As you exhale, release the tension, the fear, the doubt that you have carried about me. Let your body soften. Let your heart open. Now, with your hand still holding that seed, whisper these words aloud. I plant money, and I harvest abundance. Say it once, and notice the energy begin to move. Say it again, with more strength, letting the words carry deeper into your being. Say it a third time, with absolute conviction, as if the soil of the universe has already received your seed and is working on your return. Feel how different those words are from fear. Instead of clinging to what you have, you are releasing it with trust. Instead of hoarding, you are planting. Next, visualize yourself placing that seed into the ground. Imagine the soil warm and rich, covering it gently. See roots begin to sprout, invisible at first, but alive and strong. Picture leaves breaking through the surface, stretching toward the sun. And now imagine the full harvest, a field overflowing with golden crops, far greater than the single seed you began with. That field is your life, your abundance, your future. Now, to embody this ritual, take a small action. Give something away today, not because you are losing, but because you are planting. It could be a coin you leave for someone in need. It could be an act of generosity to a stranger. It could be setting aside a small portion of your income to invest in your growth or your dreams. Whatever it is, do it consciously. Do it joyfully. Do it while whispering the words, I plant money and I harvest abundance. Understand that it is not the size of the seed that matters, it is the energy. Even the smallest action, when planted with faith, carries infinite potential. What you release in trust cannot vanish, it must return, multiplied. This is the law of the seed, and I money, obey it every time. So make this ritual your practice. Hold me, bless me, plant me, and then release me with joy. Every time you do, you water the soil of your future. Every time you declare those words, you align your energy with multiplication. And soon, you will see the truth for yourself. The seed you plant today will always become the harvest of tomorrow. That's exactly what Felipe discovered. For years, he had lived with the belief that money would only come if he held on tightly to every coin, never letting go, never sharing, always afraid that what left would never return. His wallet felt like a prison, and every time he paid a bill or spent on something necessary, panic took over his chest. In his mind, every expense was loss, and every loss meant more struggle. But one day, Felipe heard the truth. Money is a seed, not a chain. At first, he resisted this idea. How could it be possible that giving away, releasing, planting, would actually bring more back? It felt risky, even foolish. Yet something deep inside whispered that perhaps he had been living backwards all along, that maybe holding too tightly was exactly what kept money from flowing into his life. So he decided to try a simple experiment. He took a small coin, no more than the value of a cup of coffee, and instead of hoarding it, he gave it to a street musician he passed every morning. But this time, he did it consciously. He placed the coin in the musician's hand, smiled, and whispered softly under his breath, I plant money and I harvest abundance. For the first time in years, Philippe didn't feel loss. He felt expansion. That night, he noticed something different. He slept peacefully, without the usual knot of anxiety in his stomach. The next morning, he woke up lighter, as if a door had opened inside him. Encouraged, he continued. Every day, he planted small seeds. Sometimes it was a coin. Sometimes it was paying for a friend's coffee. Sometimes it was setting aside a small amount in the savings account, not out of fear, but as an intentional investment in his future. Each time, he spoke the same words, turning the act into a ritual. And then the unexpected began to happen. Within a week, Philippe received a message from a client he thought had forgotten about him, offering not only to pay an old invoice, but to add extra for a new project. Days later, he stumbled upon a refund from something he had completely overlooked. Soon after, a friend referred him to an opportunity that doubled his income in a single month. Philippe realized something profound. The world had not suddenly changed, he had. By planting instead of hoarding, by giving with faith instead of fear, he had shifted his energy. And money responded instantly. The cycle of abundance had been there all along, waiting for him to trust it. Today, Philippe smiles when he remembers those first small seeds. He knows they were never just coins. They were the roots of his new life. His story is proof of the law that governs me. I always return, multiplied, to those who dare to plant me with joy. And now, just as Philippe discovered, the same truth is waiting for you. Hear me now, because what I am about to reveal is not just advice, it is prophecy. Every seed you plant today will become tomorrow's harvest. This is the unbreakable law of my existence. I am money, and I do not grow in the hands that hoard me, nor in the hearts that fear me. I grow in the soil of generosity, intention, and trust. Look at the world around you. Every tree you see was once a seed buried in the dark, invisible, almost forgotten. But the farmer did not panic when he saw only soil. He trusted. He watered. He waited. And in time, the seed revealed its power, pushing upward, multiplying itself beyond recognition. That is exactly how I work. When you plant me through an act of giving, through an investment, through a gesture of trust, you may not see results immediately. The soil of life requires time. But know this, the moment the seed touches the earth, the process has already begun. Beneath the surface, unseen, roots are forming, energy is moving, and the harvest is already on its way. But here is the danger. Many abandon their seeds too soon. They give once, they invest once, they act in faith once, and when nothing appears overnight, they dig up the soil, declaring, "It doesn't work," and in that act of impatience, they kill what was about to bloom. Do not make this mistake. Do not abandon the law of the seed, because you cannot yet see what is happening beneath the surface. I tell you with certainty, if you plant today, I will return tomorrow multiplied. Not always in the exact way you expect, not always through the path you imagine, but always in the form of increase. Your job is not to control the how. Your job is to trust the cycle, to plant with intention, and to believe in the harvest. This is why I say, the coin you release today could become the contract that changes your future. The small act of generosity you choose now could open the door to opportunities beyond your imagination. The moment you stop seeing expenses as losses and begin seeing them as seeds, you step into alignment with my true nature. I am money, and my nature is expansion. So here is my prophecy for you. If you dare to plant me with faith today, your future will not lack. The soil of abundance is already prepared, waiting for your action. What you release in trust will return to you in waves. What you plant in joy will rise as prosperity. What you water with gratitude will grow into forests of opportunity. Do not fear the smallness of the seed. The greatest trees were once invisible to the eye. Do not despise the beginning, for every beginning carries within it the fullness of destiny. Trust this, your harvest is already forming. I am money, and I declare your seed today is the abundance of tomorrow. Now it is your turn. You have listened, you have felt, and now you must act, because nothing grows without planting. You cannot just hear these words and remain the same. You must sow a seed in this very moment. And your seed begins with a declaration. Type these words below right now. I plant money, and I harvest abundance. Do not underestimate the power of this simple act. It may look like just a comment, just a phrase on a screen, but it is much more. It is your seed. Every time you write these words, you are not only telling the universe what you choose, you are planting a vibration in the soil of your future. And vibrations always return multiplied. When you type it, pause for a moment. Feel the shift inside you. Notice how your body relaxes, how your spirit lifts. That is the energy of planting. That is the soil of your abundance receiving the seed. The words are not empty, they are codes. And those codes open the invisible doors that impatience, fear, and doubt have closed. But I want you to do more than just write. I want you to feel. As you type, I plant money, and I harvest abundance. Imagine yourself holding a seed in your hand. Picture yourself placing it into fertile soil. See yourself covering it with care, watering it with faith, and walking away, knowing that life is already moving within it. That image is not fantasy. It is prophecy. It is your future forming even now. And here is the beauty. You are not planting alone. Every person who writes these words with you is adding to the collective energy. Together, you are creating a field of abundance so powerful that it cannot be ignored. When you comment, you join a movement. You link arms with thousands of others who are choosing to believe, choosing to plant, choosing to trust. And in that unity, your seed grows even faster. So do not hesitate. Do not delay. Do not say, I'll do it later. Later is a thief that steals your harvest. The energy is alive right now in this moment, and the soil is ready. Plant now and watch how quickly the sprouts begin to appear. I am money, and I tell you this truth. I am listening. I am watching. I am waiting for your signal. When you declare, when you type, when you release your seed into the universe, I will respond. I will take your words and carry them into form. I will grow your seed into a harvest that blesses not just you, but everyone connected to you. So declare it boldly. Plant it with faith. Join the movement of abundance. Write it now. I plant money and I harvest abundance. This is your seed. This is your moment. And your harvest is already on the way.